Hello, love tubers. How are you, darlings? I hope you had a delicious night. I almost, while I'm getting things ready, I had almost canceled my Uber because it said it was going to take 6 minutes to get to me. And then when I looked this a few minutes later, and it was probably like 5 minutes later, it said it was going to take 4 minutes to get to me. And I said, well, it don't look like this Uber's getting any closer to me. And I'm glad I did not cancel my Uber. It said and the reason I didn't cancel it is because it said she is finishing up another ride elsewhere nearby. That's the only reason I didn't cancel it. I'm glad I didn't. Miss Atia was breathtaking. Before I got into the car, I didn't even write the name of the book down. I should have wrote it down instead of taking a video of it so I could have remembered it. I said, what are you reading? She says, well, it's called God is something something, and it's a calendar. I said, oh, okay. She's automatically talking my language, goddess. So I'm in the back seat, and I start to look at I look at everybody's rear view and back view, and I see what they got in their car and what speaks to me. And so I said, oh, you have the palmistry hand hanging from your rear view and the third eye. She said, yeah. And then she also had the skull sitting up front to represent for the ancestors. So she has a semi-altar in her car. I used to have semi-altars in my car. Honey, I would have my Ayike wand. I'd have stones. I'd have cauldrons. She wasn't quite as flamboyant with it, but I could tell. And I said, so we got to talking. And she used to go to Eastern Star Church, which is one of the churches I go to now as well. And we had a very deep, unique, private, in-depth conversation. We don't need to pull out swords right now or clubs. But just know that whatever you do in the dark eventually comes to light. I also went ahead and I shared with her that I write books. She talked to me about how she came upon her spiritual journey. I had no idea. She listened to, before listening to the music, she used to listen to, she said his name was Dr. Griff of Public Enemy. And I said, oh. I said, really? I said, you mean, I said, from his music and stuff like that? Because I know Public Enemy music. Public Enemy #1. And so, so she says, no, not from his music, just by his teachings. I'll have to look into him a little later. Because although I listened to the music, I was never still enough to really be dissecting people like that. I was always working or in school or doing something. So I'll have to go look him up and see what he talked about. But that is her journey and how she started studying the esoteric. I told her we was reading the Bible each day from beginning to end, and that we started with Genesis and that we're in 2 Samuel right now. And she said she had a passenger in her car to tell her She left. She said she didn't ask her why she left. She used to go get readings. The passenger used to go get tarot readings. And she didn't ask her why she left all that alone and started going back to church. Well, she told the driver, all that stuff, you can't do any of that because that's from the devil. And that's what I told her. I said, girl, that Bible is full of spells, full of them. They just call them different names in the Bible. They call them prophetess. They're using all kinds of divination tools, necromancy. They doing sacrifices and rituals. It's nothing but a book of spells, okay? And we love spells around here. We love spells. So she said that is absolutely right. And so it even has the tarot cards in it. We've gone through that. I've discussed that before with you, some of the tarot cards. So, the series, I told her I was doing this series. How you doing? And she was like, okay, good luck with your series. We connected. And I told her I had books, that my first religious book I wrote was 7 African Powers for Beginning Practitioners. And then I told her since then I have 19 books, and I'm doing the book right now of Cosmic Orgasms with the album. We've already connected on Instagram, which seems to be one of the main sites that I currently have now that is not banned or shadow banned. How about them apples? Oh, my meeting got rescheduled with Skip Grant for meeting the CEO tomorrow, same time, 11:30. And that's actually a good thing. Reason being, because yesterday morning I ordered me an outfit, and I didn't know if the outfit was gonna arrive on time or not. With the meeting being moved till Friday, the outfit will be in this evening. I will officially have my first witch's hat. Hold on, wait a minute. I've had lots of witch lingerie, plenty of witch lingerie, a few witch outfits, but I've never owned a witch's hat. So this is exciting for me. With that being said, we're going to get started on 40 money scriptures and 40 money spells. And yes. Oh, I discussed day 1, setting up your altar and your wealth grimoire, and how to use 40 money spells. And I discussed on day 2, 40 money scriptures and how to use that book. Since I will be in witchy attire tomorrow, I went through my altar in regards to some of the favorite incenses used and things of that nature, and crystals. So we will be discussing that tomorrow while I'm all dolled up before my meeting. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome to day 4. Today we will be discussing 2 Chronicles 7:11. 7:11. 7:11. All right. Okay. The inner, let's see here. The inner Adytum and the outer home. We're going to do some deep breathing before we get started. We're going to take out the trash. You've got your wealth grimoire ready. All right. Let's do some deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Now with each inhale, we are releasing, and exhale, we are releasing fear. We are releasing poverty. We are releasing the fear of criticism. We are releasing ill health. We are releasing loss. We are releasing aging. And we are releasing death, the fear of them all. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. All right. Thus Solomon finished the house of the Lord. If you've been hanging with me long enough, you know that Lord over here means cosmic law. And the king's house and all that cometh into Solomon's heart to make in this house of the Lord and his own house was prospered. Jubilee Bible. In this way, Solomon finished the Lord's temple and the royal palace. He successfully accomplished everything he intended for the Lord's temple and his own palace, Common English Bible. And so Solomon finished the house temple of the Lord and the palace of the king. He successfully accomplished all that he had planned to do in the house of the Lord and in his palace. Amplified Bible, Classic Edition. I like Solomon. A few things came to mind when I was reading the passage. First of all, Solomon's temple had two pillars in front of them before it no longer existed. And they represented parts of the tree of life, one for peace and one for conflict. And Ephelius Levi talks about it in his book. Talks about it in two books. Talks about it in depth in Key of the Mysteries. And he talks about it in the book of Indoctrination and the Indoctrination of High Magic, I believe is what the book is called. I didn't bring it with me because I've got enough books with me for right now. But that's one of the ones I put to the side while I got the other books in. I'll have to go back to it. But yeah, he talks about, because Solomon, magical King Solomon, dealt with magic on many levels, including the Getia arts, dealing with demonology. So, Solomon was a great wizard. Let's go on over to, I'll have some more information for you tomorrow in regards to King Solomon. Another thing that came to mind while reading this scripture, because we just talked about Lord and how it means cosmic law. The 12 planetary houses came to mind. And I'm not talking zodiac signs, baby. Based on your date of birth and location determines your Yeah, your 12 planetary houses. So I'll have to draft up, if you are unfamiliar with, which you probably are, with planetary houses. Oh, awesome. Let me see if that's in here. Did I bring that? Hold on. Oh, I did bring it. Oh, okay. Let me see. Baby. So yesterday, nothing like a grant to reprioritize your mental mind frame. So yesterday, I asked myself, um, yes, I asked myself, well, what kind of questions are they going to ask during this 10 to 15-minute meeting? And so I wrote myself a little cheat sheet, okay? But the reason I got $900 instead of 1,000, because you can get up to 1,000, is because I didn't have a business bank account. Well, with me winning the grant, I said, oh, I guess this is a good time to set up a business bank account. And you'll know why this is important in a minute, because we're talking about planetary houses. So I went ahead, I said, well, I don't want to go to like a brick and mortar or anything. I've had a brick and mortar experience. That's not really what I'm looking for. So I asked for a few suggestions, and one of the suggestions that came up was Mercury with a 9.9 rating. It's not a traditional bank with physical buildings. It's a tech platform, fintech, that partners with Real Choice Financial Group and Column to hold the money. There's no cash that has to be deposited, zero physical branches, and they do not accept cash deposits. The money must be digital, electronic transfers, card payments, Stripe deposits, ACH, or digital wires, which is beautiful. For an online digital content and retreat-based business like Shameless Sublimotion Siren, this isn't a problem, but it's a massive catch for traditional retail shops. How they actually make money without charging you fees. Because, banks have fees. Chase sent me something the other day. It said you can have this, and this if you deposit this, and this with us. I said, oh, there must be a monthly fee. When I was with my former bank, there was a monthly fee. The interchange split, every time you swipe your Mercury debit or credit card, the merchant pays a processing fee. We know that happens with most of these businesses. Visa, MasterCard interchange. Mercury takes on a percentage of that fee. You aren't charged, the person you brought from is. The 1% international fee, if you send money internationally or do a currency conversion, if you use your cash abroad, there's a 3% international transaction fee. Interest on deposits. When you leave money sitting in your account, Mercury pulls that capital and earns wholesale interest on it from the Federal Reserve, keeping a cut before passing the rest to users or non on basic checking. The risk of the account, because digital fintechs move quickly, their automated compliance software is notoriously strict. The catch: if they see sudden, erratic, unexplained five-figure wire transfers coming from unverified sources, their automated system can flag and freeze accounts faster than legacy bank like Chase or Bank of America might. As long as your incoming funds are clean, verifiable revenue like payouts from Stripe, Substack, or a legitimate grant from a company like Skip, you are perfectly fine. The to fill it out, the application was was very in depth. Yeah. Oh yes, they are very, very strict, very, very thorough, I guess I should say. While basic banking invoices and bill pay are 100% free, the Gate advanced software automation behind paid tiers, you can opt for non-free tiers. You only need that if you are automating massive APIs or doing employee expense management for a large team. For a solo founder scaling up, the free tier is all you need. All right. So I said, well, I got some questions because all of this sounds delicious, but I want to know, of course I do, what does the sky say? What does the sky say about this alignment? Let's take a pause. Hello, Julius Carter, 1016 Sweetness. Hello, Joshua White, hyphen D7I. Hi, Wilson, hyphen V80. Says looking good. Thank you, sweetheart. Oh, thank you, Paulden N06350. Thank you. Says nice bosoms. All right. Now, again, we'll talk about planetary houses, the 12 tomorrow. All right, so the sky was singing yesterday, coming off the full moon in Sagittarius that just cleared the air. And I wanted to know what the cosmic currents were doing while I was sitting there organizing infrastructure, putting on, prepping with witch hats, and preparing to claim my funding. Mercury and Jupiter were dancing in Gemini. The planets of contracts, commerce, communication, and business tech. Sitting right next to Jupiter, the planet of massive expansion, wealth, and luck in Gemini. The magic. Gemini rules dualities, multimedia output, writing, and speaking. The fact that I'm preparing about an interview about multimedia distributing, setting up digital banking with a platform literally named Mercury, and receiving a windfall of wealth is the absolute embodiment of this alignment. The universe is favoring fast, sharp digital communication right now. The Sun and Venus conjunctions the Cosmi, currently in the heart of the Venus Cosmi, meaning Venus, wealth, pleasure, luxury, and the divine feminine, sitting directly in the heart of the Sun. The magic. This is the ultimate Empress aspect. Venus is being completely purified and amplified by solar fire for a business like Shameless Sublimotion Siren, that is explicitly about helping women reclaim their erotic power, pleasure, and sovereignty from the shadows. This cosmic alignment could not be more intentional. The sky is validating the exact medicine that I am bringing to the table. Mars is charging through Aries. Mars is currently in its home sign of Aries, firing up absolute unapologetic warrior energy, initiating new paths and claiming what is yours. The magic. This is raw execution energy. This is why I felt sudden, precise urge to check the banking infrastructure today, get the outfit locked in today, and script the victory today in regards to my notes about what might pop up or be discussed. Moving at the speed with the sky is providing the fire to build. The verdict from the realms. The sky says execute, because I wanted to know what the sky had to say. There are no retrogrades or heavy cosmic blocks standing in your way right now. The transition from the purge of the full moon into this hyper-focused, communicative, wealth-attracting alignment means the path is wide open. My intuition to pull the trigger on Mercury today aligns completely with the cosmic current. The universe has already set stage. Step into the light zone. Claim your coin and roll. All right, let's get started on spell number 4. All right. So for the notes, I wrote down Key of the Mysteries, the Indoctrination, Higher Magic, Elias Levi. Uh, we talked about the Lesser Key of Solomon um, in regards to demonology, and we talked about the 12, um, the 12 planetary houses. Oh, and we talked about the Temple of Solomon and the two pillars. And I'll have their tarot names for you tomorrow, because they do have tarot names affiliated to them per the Key of the Mysteries. And we said we're going to go over incense and crystals. All right. So we will be in the room a little longer, maybe tomorrow. But I've already booked for it. So I booked for it yesterday. Okay. Ooh, this is going to be delicious. Oh. Destiny markers. Ah. All right. Have y'all been busy with y'all Wealth Grimoire books? I would love to know what y'all are doing and everything with those. All right, notes on this spell. As souls, we all have destiny markers on planet Earth. Places we've hidden sacred clues to our destiny. Souls hide these markers before incantation to remind the human self of the soul's mission. All right. I'm going to double check, but I believe on lawoftime.org, I'd have to double check, that that's where you find your galactic signature or your birth code. Okay. That's the whole design for, yeah, galactic signature or your birth code. Very important that you have that and know what your kin is, your related kins, your your fifth oracle. Yeah. So I believe, if I remember correctly, because I haven't gone to, I normally use the 1320 app, not lawoftime.org, unless I don't need as much detail. 1320 app gives a lot of detail in depth to yourself, but the lawoftime.org, I just look up the birth date and what it means, or I'll read any information they have on the site. But I believe they have a map on there with destiny markers on them. But I'll double check just to be sure. Notes on this spell: as souls, we all have destiny markers. Okay. Step 1, cleanse your body. Clear your energy with Florida water or sage, then go to your sacred space, quiet space, or out in nature where you have complete privacy. I guess we're going to need to cover sage as well. And I'll talk about why in a minute. Begin with emptying the mind, like taking out the trash. Be still for 20 minutes and empty your mind by following your breath. We have done breath work. Say a prayer to clearly know the location of your destiny markers. May I know and be aligned with, in divine harmony, grace, and abundance, the destiny markers I have placed on planet Earth before I incarnated, for reminders of what I am here to be, do, and have. Amen. Be still and give close attention to your inner world. Carefully record all impressions. What locations have you felt compelled or inspired to visit? Practice this destiny marker spell every day, preferably at the same time of day, ideally early in the morning during spiritual practice. Until you know where the destiny markers are, or until you know where the next destiny marker is, then commit to go there. When I told, this was years ago, when I first started practicing, before I started practicing African traditional religion and studying it, I would always sage the house. Oh, yeah. I would, there was a health store down the street. They sold sage sticks, and I started out that way, and then I went to the enlightenment shop, and they would have sage prayers. And I would keep the sage prayer in my curio cabinet. And about once a week, I would sage. And to learn about other sage sticks, I went online, and then I started buying sage boxes with different kind of sage sticks in them to figure out which sage I wanted to use. Now, saging is normal in Indian culture, and some of the other cultures as well, in African traditional religious cultures. It was mind-boggling to me before I knew and could see. Before I set up the altar, I didn't know that I was going to places that had altars besides church right in front of me. So if I go to the Chinese restaurant, they got the altar there. If I go to the Indian restaurant, they got the altar there. If I was going to, this is back in the day where I bought my first Mac computer, if I go to the flea market, they got the altar sitting directly in front of the flea market. I went to a restaurant up in Castleton where you cook your own food at the table. I don't even remember what the name of it was. You walk in, they got the little thing with the horns and everything else. They got the altar there. You go into the gas station. You smell the sage. You smell the incense. You smell whatever it is they're burning when you're going into the gas station. Okay. You go to other countries. Their altars are on display for their gods, for their idols. All right. Glad we had that discussion. Now, that is all for today because I've got to do a lot of preparatory work for you all for tomorrow. This has been absolutely scrumptious, just delicious. And today, choose to be aware, choose to be responsible, choose discipline, choose courage, choose purpose. Choose purpose over drifting, creation over consumption, discipline over distraction, faith over fear. Your mind is your kingdom. Your purpose is your compass. Your habits are your builders. Your future begins today. I love you, love tubers. Have a marvelous day. Mwah.